This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and now for something small but important to your health and life. This is the Fitbit Charge 3, which, as you might guess, well, comes after the Fitbit Charge 2. This one has a larger, easier to read display, and it's a fitness tracker, a fitness band. This is not a full-fledged smartwatch, but the upside of that is it's a lot less expensive than the average smartwatch at $150, and it's a lot less bulky too, especially compared to a lot of the Android Wear and Samsung full-size smartwatches out there that you could knock out a mouse with. You know, we're going to look at it now. So for those of you who want more features or a color display in the Fitbit band, there is the Fitbit Versa that we reviewed a couple of months ago. It's $199, so $50 more than this. It's not that much of a bigger spend. That one also has offline music playback. It's got storage space for music. This one does not have that. A little bit more basic in terms of the feature set, and the features really are based on fitness. In theory, you could put apps on this, and the Smartphone Companion application, which is available for Android and iOS, will allow you to choose from 5 different watch faces, and right now we pretty much just have the built-in apps, but there's a chance a few more might come. But this is not an app-centric kind of smartwatch product. Don't expect to be reading ESPN on this or something like that. What you do get is core support for things like exercise. That's what it's all about, right? So 15 exercise types are supported, which is a pretty healthy smattering. We got treadmill, we have biking, we have running, there's kickboxing, yoga, Pilates, you get the idea, add interval training, all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty good. Now there's no like exercycle option for those who use an exercise bike, but you can turn off the GPS feature at least. There is treadmill, however. Now let's talk about that. There is no GPS built into this device, so it's going to be using the GPS on your phone, which is actually pretty quick and responsive to do. But the thing is, for those of you who really were hoping to go out on a run and leave your phone behind, I personally like to take it along for safety's sake. Well, that's not really an option if you want to track the distance that you've covered. Also, you can set the size of your stride, but none of us really is super consistent when you're running. I mean, you run into curbs, dogs laying on the sidewalk, whatever it is. So you're going to change your stride a little bit. So the distance is much more accurate if you're actually using the GPS in conjunction with the built-in stride detection in this. It's made of, not the band itself, obviously, just the watch body, supposedly aerospace grade aluminum, whatever that means, and Gorilla Glass 3. It seems pretty durable. I'm a klutz with watches, and I typically bang door jambs all the time with it. It's holding up just fine. There's a variety of bands you can choose from. It's reasonably easy to remove and interchange bands. They are different from the Versa band, so they're not the same. So you have your basic silicone one that it comes with, and then there's the silicone sport. Those are $30. The silicone sport's the one that has lots of little breathing holes in it, sort of like if you're familiar with the Apple Watch, the Nike style bands. For $35, there's the woven nylon bands, the sort of fabric-y ones, which look nice. If you're a heavy sweater exerciser, you probably want to stick with the silicone, which is pretty comfortable and fairly breathable and hasn't itched me or bothered me at all. But then if you want to go classy at night, there's the Horween leather band option, and that's $50. Like I said, the display on this is considerably larger, around 30% bigger than the Fitbit Charge 2, which is nice, especially if you have big fingers. That said, the touchscreen to me felt like smartwatch from 3 years ago. So sometimes it mispresses, sometimes it kind of overreacted. Also, there's no setting for how long the face stays on. So you raise your arm, and again, this seems a little bit throw back a couple of years in terms of you really have to do a concerted wrist race to get this thing to turn on, and it turns off when it wants to turn off, which is very quickly. I would like it to stay on a bit longer. You can set brightness level and settings as one of the few settings that you can actually change on the watch, and it is bright enough to see outdoors, like I said, so at least that part's good, and glare is not too bad on it. It's a pretty small piece of glass. It's fairly comfortable to wear, but as somebody I'm tall, I'm, you know, almost 6 feet tall, but I don't have the biggest frame or bones or anything like that. So I find that it digs a little bit on the wrist tendon and the wrist box, even though you wear it kind of loose. They tell you that you should be able to slide it up and down your wrist just a little bit and fit a finger underneath the band here at the clasp, but not underneath the face. But you should be able to move it a little bit. I still find, and I wish it curved like the Samsung Gear Fit 2 and Gear Fit 2 Pro. That would be pretty nice. But the rest of it in terms of comfort is pretty good. And comfort is important because one of the things this does is sleep tracking. It seems to do a reasonably good job. You get nice little graphs that show you how much time you spend in REM sleep, deep sleep, light sleep, awake, and percentage totals of sleep, and then they have blog information and stuff like that, so you can look up and figure out, is this good, is this normal, you know, you get the idea there. And now that the thing for 2018 is cutting edge features that actually don't launch with the product, like Apple did with the Apple Watch and the EKG that didn't launch yet with the Apple Watch. This one has an oxygen sensor, a blood oxygen sensor. Samsung Galaxy phones have had the rear oxygen sensor. If you've had one of those, you know what that is. So it reads your blood oxygen level to figure out how well your blood is oxygenated. So it can do this continuously at night, just when this feature is available, which it isn't yet, but just like the heart rate monitor is continuous on this. So the point of that really is to see if you've got sleep apnea. For people who sleep restlessly, it's a pretty common problem, honestly, a lot more common than AFib that Apple's going to track with their heart monitor. So if you're one of those people who's snoring and snorting and waking up a lot in the night, this may be able to tell you if you do have sleep apnea. Another new feature is swimming. So 50-meter water resistance. I don't go no deeper than that. I don't know about you. So that seems pretty good. And of course, that means you can shower with it. You can wash the dishes with it. You can wash the car. You can accidentally drop it in the pool and it's just absolutely fine. So that's a nice thing too. And of course, it supports swimming and laps measurement on the device. Now, what they did with this is they changed the button on the side. It's kind of a capacitive button with haptic feedback instead of a mechanical one, so there's no little switch, clicker switch to seal anymore, which is a smart thing. One thing that I think is weird is that that button is on the left side of the watch, or fitness band rather. So for most people who would wear this on their left arm, if you're right-handed, it's kind of in the awkward side to go to, because when I'm looking at it, I want to be pressing, you know, towards the hand. I think most people work that way. And also, it does support left-handedness. I am left-handed, so I actually would wear it on this wrist, where it would work out fine for me. And their labeling of that is, I guess, a right-centric mindset, because you choose dominant or non-dominant hand. Now, for me, this is my non-dominant hand, but this is labeled as dominant in the app. No big deal. Just saying, us lefties count too. By the way, for the blood oxygen measurement, there's no word on FDA endorsement or anything like that yet. I guess that's still awaiting. So we'll find out how accurate that is. So in other words, what that means is probably don't have a panic attack either. If it shows your blood oxygen level goes low at one point, it might not be medical grade. Speaking of sort of medical things, this has the same feature that the Versa did at introduction, which is female health tracking, which basically means you can keep track of your period and you can notate your period symptoms too. Okay, guys, you can start listening again now. So how is it actually as a fitness tracker and how accurate it is? Mostly what you're looking for in accuracy is distance covered. And again, that's really up to your companion phone to provide the GPS information. And it does quite well with that. It's pretty accurate. When it comes to measuring heart rate, I compare this to the Apple Watch, a desktop freestanding blood pressure and heart rate monitor device, to the Samsung Gear Fit 2, to a couple of other devices. And it seems to me that, on me anyway, it's running about 3 to 5 beats higher than the other devices, including the dedicated medical monitor, when I'm exercising. And it's running about 2 to 3 beats per second too low when I'm very sedentary. That's still within a reasonable amount for a $149 fitness tracker. That's pretty good. 3 beats or 5 beats per minute is not going to make or break your day. By the way, when you're doing an exercise, you can see the distance traveled if it's an exercise that entails traveling a distance like biking or running. And you can also swipe through and you can see your heart rate. And then they also have the zone measurement. So you can see if you're in your cardio zone, if you're in your fat burning zone, or if you're in your all out, I'm just going anaerobic crazy zone. Everything you need to know, basically, it communicates via vibration. And it's a kind of like zzz, zzz, little bit of a tickly mosquito kind of vibrate, not a wholehearted, deep kind of vibrate for those of you who care about those things. It's a quiet little bugger. It's not going to beep and whir and make any kind of noises. You can set up notifications on your phone for different events. Again, Android and iOS, full-featured dashboard. It's pretty good stuff, actually. And just, it's the rage now too, to have breathing reminders. So you'll get breathing reminders and the usual stand reminders, which you can enable or disable if you want to do that as well. There's a couple of other things on here. There's a timer, there's a weather application, and that's pretty much it for the device. Battery life on fitness bands tends to be good because they're doing a lot less. You know, you get basic notifications piped over from your smartphone. be it iPhone or Android phone, and that's about it in terms of smarts. It communicates via Bluetooth, which is a pretty low power technology with your phone. So they claim up to seven days of battery life. I've been getting about 5.5 so far with it. I'm exercise most days of the week for an hour, hour and a half or so, and I'm pretty active throughout the day. And that's with wearing it at night, so it can sleep track too, though I never turned it off at night in the nights when I didn't wear it either. So that's the Fitbit Charge 3. Again, interchangeable bands, so you can change the look of it. Reasonably comfortable, though, like I said, I would really like it if the glass curved a little bit for people with smaller and bony wrists like me. But if you're looking for a fitness tracker with a lot of good dashboard information, sleep tracking on board, and the social component, which seems to be something people really like about the Fitbit, you can compete with and team up with your friends, your family, whoever, to egg yourselves on to keep on exercising. Well, those things are quite nice about it. I'm a little bummed that it's still a grayscale display. You know, it is visible outdoors, so that part is good. But we look at something like the Samsung Gear Fit 2 that's similarly priced. You get a colored display, which is a little bit more informative, a quicker read, that sort of thing. Yeah. And also, I look forward to the oxygen sensor feature, and I really do wish companies would stop releasing their products without having the hallmark feature ready. Again, this is just like the Apple Watch, which has the EKG feature that wasn't available at launch either. But hopefully it'll be coming soon, like maybe in November, and then we can find out how much we're actually not breathing when we're sleeping. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and wrists up if you like this vid.